Think you've seen every isekai worth watching? Nah. Today we're digging up forgotten classics, brutal mindbenders, and chaotic fantasy trips that shaped the genre before Truck-kun became a full-time employee. Kicking off with number 9. Kiba Kiba is what happens when isekai decides happiness is optional. This anime throws you into a harsh desert world where destiny doesn't care about your emotions. Zed isn't some cheerful chosen hero. He's angry, impulsive, and constantly fighting himself as much as the enemy. And honestly, that makes him feel real. The spirit-based combat system is deep, symbolic, and tied directly to character growth, not just flashy power-ups. Every alliance feels unstable, every victory feels temporary, and every loss actually hurts. The show takes itself seriously without being pretentious, building a world full of political tension, spiritual rules, and moral consequences. No cute mascots, no easy resets. Kiba is slow-burn isekai that rewards patience and punishes shortcuts. If you enjoy fantasy stories where characters earn every step forward, and sometimes fall back hard, this one quietly delivers emotional punches modern isekai avoid. Sliding to number 8. Ima, Soko ni Iruboku, Now and Then Here and There. This isekai is not here to entertain you. It's here to break you emotionally. A normal kid gets dragged into a brutal, war-torn world ruled by a tyrant who treats suffering like policy. No magic glow-ups, no training arcs that fix everything. The protagonist survives through empathy, stubborn hope, and sheer willpower, which somehow makes every moment heavier. The anime tackles child soldiers, despair, and moral collapse without flinching, yet never feels exploitative. What hurts most is how grounded everything feels. This world isn't fantasy evil, it's painfully human evil. There are moments you'll want to pause just to breathe. It's uncomfortable, unforgettable, and absolutely not binge-friendly. This is the kind of isekai people avoid because it's too dark, then realize later it's one of the most honest stories the genre ever told. Landing on number 7, The 12 Kingdoms. The 12 Kingdoms is isekai for people who love lore, politics, and character growth that actually hurts. Our protagonist doesn't become confident overnight. She's scared, betrayed, and forced to confront her own weaknesses repeatedly. And that slow transformation? Completely earned. This world operates on rigid systems, divine beasts, royal responsibility, and consequences for bad leadership. There's no hand-holding, and the anime trusts you to keep up. Sometimes the pacing crawls, but when the story hits, it hits hard. Power isn't celebrated. It's questioned. Ruling isn't glamorous. It's exhausting. Modern isekai rarely has the patience or courage to tell stories like this anymore. If you enjoy watching flawed characters grow through failure instead of shortcuts, The 12 Kingdoms quietly stands taller than most fantasy anime that came after it. Looking at number 6. Magic Knight Rayearth. Magic Knight Rayearth looks innocent. 3 schoolgirls, magical armor, bright colors, and then emotionally blindsides you. The setup feels classic and heroic, but the deeper you go, the more uncomfortable questions start popping up. What if saving the world requires breaking someone else's? What if the system itself is wrong? The anime slowly shifts from adventure to tragedy without warning, and the twist lands hard. Really hard. The girls don't just gain power, they lose innocence, certainty, and emotional safety along the way. Clamp's art style gives everything a timeless beauty that makes the darker moments sting even more. Rayearth isn't just nostalgic, it's foundational. It helped shape emotional fantasy storytelling long before it became trendy. If you think old anime can't still surprise you, this one proves you wrong without raising its voice. Rolling into number 5, Those Who Hunt Elves. This anime is pure nonsense, and it proudly knows it. The premise alone sounds illegal in 3 dimensions, but the execution turns it into chaotic comedy gold. You've got over-the-top characters, ridiculous problem-solving, and a plot that refuses to behave. It constantly breaks fantasy expectations, roasting isekai tropes before they were even popular. The humor is loud, shameless, and unapologetically stupid, but in a way that feels intentional, not lazy. Beneath the madness, there's actually solid pacing and commitment to the bit. This isn't trying to be deep or emotional. It just wants to make you laugh while fantasy logic gets drop-kicked out the window. If you're burnt out on serious isekai monologues and overpowered speeches, this anime is the perfect reminder that fun used to matter. Sliding down to number 4, El Hazard, The Magnificent World. El Hazard is classic 90s anime energy. Ambitious, messy, and surprisingly charming. It mixes ancient technology, fantasy politics, comedy villains, and genuine emotional stakes into one wild ride. The tone jumps around, but it never feels bored with itself. Characters are dramatic, petty, heroic, and selfish in very human ways. The world building sneaks up on you, gradually revealing depth beneath the chaos. Sure, it's rough around the edges, but that's part of the appeal. El Hazard feels like an adventure made by creators having fun instead of chasing trends. The soundtrack, the villain theatrics, and the earnest storytelling give it personality. Modern isekai sometimes lack. It's not perfect, but it's memorable, and that matters more. Hitting number 3, Fushigi Yugi. But trust me, number 3, it'll mess with your head in the best way possible. Fushigi Yugi is emotional whiplash wrapped in destiny and betrayal. One episode is friendship and hope, the next is heartbreak and irreversible loss. Characters make selfish, emotional, and sometimes frustrating decisions, and that's exactly why it works. Nothing feels sanitized. The romance hurts, the consequences stick, and the villains hit close to home. This anime doesn't chase perfection, it chases feeling, and it succeeds. Fushigi Yugi helped define emotionally intense fantasy long before the genre learned how powerful that could be. It's dramatic, messy, and unforgettable in a well-ished anime rarely achieve. Climbing to number 2. Mare. March and Awaken Romance. Mare starts light and slowly sharpens its teeth. What looks like a simple fantasy adventure evolves into strategic battles, long-term rivalries, and characters carrying emotional scars. The protagonist's growth feels earned, not gifted, and the villains don't feel disposable. Tournament arcs actually matter here. Weapons have consequences. Power comes with cost. Mare never screams for attention, but it steadily hooks you with consistency and heart. It respects its audience, trusting them to grow alongside the story. If you skipped this thinking it was too childish, you missed one of the genre's most quietly satisfying journeys. Finally, number 1, Isekai no Seikishi Monogatari. This is how you do an underrated isekai right. It balances mecha action, political strategy, harem chaos, and genuine character competence without falling apart. The protagonist is absurdly capable, yet grounded enough to stay likable. Every faction has goals, every conflict has logic, and the pacing never drags. It's fun without being shallow, smart without being boring. This anime deserved way more attention than it got, and once you watch it, you'll wonder how it slipped under the radar. And that's the list. 9 isekai that deserved way more love than they got. If you've seen any of these, drop your hot takes below. If not, your watch list just leveled up. Like the video, subscribe for more deep-cut anime content, and tell me which underrated isekai I missed.